Hi, my name is Remy, and today I'm going to be going over the metrics of academic success. This presentation is brought to you by Chipotle and Insomnia Cookies, as well as Bon Appetit. So for the first part, we're going to explore the difference between the SAT and the ACT and standardized testing as a whole. So what is a standardized test? A standardized test is basically a multiple choice exam that levels the playing field, ensuring that everybody has an equal opportunity to demonstrate their knowledge and to receive a score that is representative of kind of their ability to portray their intelligence in the different fields, such as math, science, and reading. This is very important for college applications, as this is one of the markers that colleges look to see whether or not you'd be a good fit for them. For the SAT versus the SAT is a very context-based, multi-stepped test where you really have to read all the passages and then perform different steps to answer the questions. For the scoring, each section is scored from a range of 200 to 800 points. The total score is 400 to 1,600 points with two sections, and the essay is scored separately. The cost for this is $43, with the essay costing an extra, bringing the total to $54.50. However, if the price is a problem, you can also always ask your counselor or even go on to the SAT website to see if you can get your fee waived. For the ACT, the test style is longer but more straightforward. For scoring, each section is scored from 1 to 36, with a composite score being all the averages of the four sections that you take. The cost is $39.50. With the essay, it brings it up a bit to $56.50. Again, you can always ask for your fee to be waived either through your counselors or also online on the ACT website itself. For registering and reporting scores, you can register for the SAT. And you can create an account at thecollegeboard.org. For the ACT, you can create an account at the act.org. When and where to take it, people usually take it during their junior year. Both are offered throughout the year, however, and many people do take it in their senior year fall semester. However, you are open to try both. You can see which one's for you, which one's not for you. I personally took the ACT, as the SAT wasn't my exam or my preferred exam. For reporting scores, for the ACT, before you take the ACT, you get 4 free scores to report to colleges. After that, there is a fee, same with the SAT. However, you can get these fees waived again. And also, when you're sending your scores, you usually send your highest scores in the case that you've taken it multiple times. So now we're going to go into depth about the ACT and how to tackle the ACT. So the ACT format is a 4-section test, starting off with English, then continuing with math, then reading, then science, and then there is an optional writing essay portion at the end of the 4 sections. Each section has a different time, and each section has more questions than time. For example, the English section has 72 questions with only 45 minutes. What this means is that you're going to have to pace yourself and go and answer all these questions efficiently and effectively as you're going through the test. For the writing, you have 40 minutes, and you only have 1 prompt to respond to. For the key points of the ACT, English versus the reading section, the English section is more focusing on grammar and punctuation, while the reading section is more based on reading comprehension. For the science section, you don't need any background or knowledge. You don't have to have taken any AP courses or any science courses. Basically, all they're asking you to do is interpret and analyze graphs and labels and to see whether or not you can follow through an experiment. For the math section, it is possible to do it without a calculator. However, the calculator is optional. For each question, you have 5 answer choices, and you just need to select the best one. For each of these sections, again, you need to watch your time, as in most of them have more questions than minutes provided. So you really need to keep pace and then make sure that you're keeping track of your time to make sure that you don't run out suddenly.
Hi guys, my name is Tushar, and I am a Scouted Out member, presenting to you guys about the College Awareness Seminar. So, Remy talked about the ACT and his experience with tackling the ACT. Now I am going to present to you about my experience with the SAT and how I tackled it. So, as you guys may know, that there has been a new SAT format over the past 1 year. The new SAT has 5 different sections. There's the reading section, which consists of long and short comprehensions, followed by a list of questions regarding the comprehension. This reading section is about 65 minutes long and has 52 questions. Then, this is followed by a writing section that focuses on grammar. This section is 35 minutes in length and consists of 44 questions. So you have to work at more than a question a minute. So it's a really fast-paced section. Next, there's a math without calculator section. So this requires some really good mental math skills. There are 25 minutes in order to answer 20 questions. Lastly, there's also a math with calculator section, which is 55 minutes in length and consists of 38 questions. In this section, the math questions will be a little more difficult, but you do have a calculator to help you. And then there's an optional section for the essay, where there's one question, the prompt of the essay, and you have about 50 minutes to write the essay. So now, the key points of the new SAT. The new SAT can be taken on paper or electronically. Secondly, the new SAT subscores are all reported. In the previous version of the SAT, you did not have to report every single subscore, but now every subscore counts and each one will be reported to the universities you choose to send them to. The essay is scored separately. Like I said, the essay is an optional section now in the new SAT, so it does not have to be sent to the universities. It is scored completely independently to the rest of the SAT. Lastly, the new SAT has no guessing penalty. So I encourage you to answer every question on the test and make educated guesses. And if you're running out of time, just make sure you throw an answer down there in order to get as many marks as possible. Now we also have some practice questions that we will be covering in the next video.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily. I'll be going over SAT and ACT tips. So first, for the general reading sections, always read the questions first. So don't read the entire passage. And this is because of the time constraint. So first read the question and then refer back to the passage of where that question is referring to. Also, don't read the entire passage in detail in general, just skim through it. And when you're choosing an answer for the reading questions, make sure that answer is actually supported in the text. So for essays, it's a great idea to just have a pre-plan. So that means your thesis and then 2 or 3 supporting paragraphs. And just outline that real quick before you actually draft the essay. For the writing and English section, in general, there are always the same grammar rules. So if you do a bunch of practice, you'll know which set of grammars they're looking for, like a semicolon or the parallel structure. And for in general testing tips, you can use process of elimination for the questions, and then you can eliminate to 2 or 3 answers, and if you don't know, make the best educated guess. Also, choose the best answer. A lot of the times, multiple answer choices seem like they'll fit, but you want to choose the one that's best supported by the text. Also, all questions are worth the same amount, so that means the hardest is worth the same amount as the easiest. So if you get stuck on a problem, just skip it, and if you have time, go back to it later. But you also want to answer every single question, because there's no guessing penalty. So at the very end, if you're out of time almost and you have unanswered questions, just bubble them in. And the most importantly, practice. So the SAT and ACT are honestly just practicing it over and over again. Throughout the years, they're always going to be the same material, just presented differently. So once you become very familiar with them, it's easy to score well. Alright, so there are also some other standardized tests. One is the Accuplacer. This is commonly used for some four-year colleges, in high schools, as well as community colleges. It's an online diagnostic placement test, and it tests reading, writing, and math. And then because it's online, the scores are immediately available once you're done. And the Accuplacer is pretty different from the SAT and ACT. So each question determines the difficulty of the next. So if you answer a question wrong, you can basically tell because the next answer or the next question is going to be easier. And so your overall score is based on the number you get correct and the level of difficulty. And then other tests are the Toefl, which is a test of English as a foreign language. And you don't need to worry about this if you're not an international student. And then schools also have placement tests which are school-specific. For example, if you're very proficient in French, but you don't have French credit, you can take a French placement test, and then you can place out of that certain course. So what's the big idea about grades and GPA? So they're most definitely important, they're emphasized, but also they don't determine everything. So just because you don't get a 5.0 or 100 on every test, it doesn't mean you're not going to get into any college. And for courses, you want to make sure that you're taking difficult courses, challenging ones, honor courses, but also make sure you enjoy it. You don't want to overload yourself, and at the same time, you don't want to be taking all the most basic courses. All right, thank you for listening.